I read something the other day, and money was about, and the same thing applies to Georgia, like. Where it is winter from, up until 8 a.m. and then it's spring. And that goes up until about noon, and then it's summer until about 4 o'clock, and then we get home.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not wrong. And then it's a, yeah. It's about accurate.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. What was the better part? So we can bring her.
Yeah, even Tyler will come in again. He was. No, it's fine. Super busy Monday, You do. So I need to be on that. Skedaddle. We had some shifts from Friday. I wrote you the letter, discuss it, something, which was really. We're like, you guys can't have influence my own package.
Something you're supposed to close on Friday, you just heard nothing.
Well, a couple times they're like, we need a little more time. And I'm like, what is it?
Yeah.
Give me some more information. And they're like, it's just like being for what? When the review start, then, because the sellers have to drive 2 hours to buy their new house, which is Monday morning at 4 o'clock today. So it was so great. With this. And there were, one response was, well, I hope they have extra funds to be able to buy their new house.
I was appalled. What was that, you remember? That week you? No.
But holy cow, yeah, when we did not close. And finally,
Sellers probably did not have extra money.
no, and they didn't bother to tell, so it's new construction, but they didn't tell the builder. Hey, we have a problem until they showed up at door, and then asked if they can move in early, which the builder obviously said, yeah, no.
So the Lone Valley View is doing with our new construction, the sellers were moving into a construction.
And I emailed the one at 7:30 this morning, I'm like, hey, are we listening? And he hasn't, still nothing. But he did email everyone over the weekend and say the problem that the buyer took out $500,000 line of credit.
So why don't you say that on Friday? Like, then everyone knows, okay, there's an issue, we understand what happened. Yeah, you definitely need time to figure it out, or nobody can come in.
I'm like, so there might be room, it's not like they're trying to buy a $400,000 house and do about half of
They're trying to buy a 1.7 million,
Uh-huh,
and they took out a line of credit.
uh-huh. I'm like, yeah. So that's it. So much.
Yeah.
So much. Wow, I've never had one not straight up, but like not very soon. So wholeheartedly not responding.
Yeah, that's.
Or responding to things that are not helpful. Yeah. Hope they have more money.
Well, maybe your buyer can give them some other line of credit.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
That'll be a cool thing.
Yeah.
And, and the other cool thing was the lender, so that first they said the delay was that we didn't get the paperwork on time. And I was like, really? Let me go through all the days that we sent in what you asked for, what you sent in. And then they're like, well, it's because y'all didn't send us the seller's account. I'm like, can you please explain me why you need that? Some of them didn't shit.
Would that be on the balanced, the Alta and stuff, or do you have that?
Well, the seller had a HELOC, and so we have to get that paid before closing to it, because there's no extra draws. And so, and like what lender needs the seller's payout, that's irrelevant. You just need to know that people are paying
You
out,
need to trust that you're doing your job.
right? So I'm like, no, this is not enough. And they've had this file for like 6 or 7 weeks, but I'm like, great. And so I was like, no, it's not in this thing. Like, I'm not doing it with this lender. Yeah, we're. Wow.
So what's the loan amount? Do you remember? Like, if they're buying 1.7 million, are they doing like a big loan?
Yeah, it's a jumbo one, but I don't remember how much we were getting. Probably a lot.
I guess maybe the problem is that the buyers took out the line of credit as they're not being in it. You know, I'm just wondering if we buy that, if we do take out.
I really have no idea. And I didn't even know that was the problem.
Yeah.
The seller's agent called this one. She's like, well, apparently this happened. I'm like, ooh. And they use the unilateral, and she's like, I don't think that's what it is. Like, that is money over, so I don't think that's all.
Oh, they use the unilateral to extend.
Which seemed legit on Friday, because it was seemed to be the lender's fault. And then it was like the buyer got the line of credit, which is now the buyer's fault. I do mean that, I'm not holding ours, I mean, buyer's brokers will win it. Yeah, really, it's like, if you're selling me the money, you're gonna get out a lot quicker.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's 8 days, that's still quicker than.
Yeah, you're not gonna get any buyer.
Relisting, it's even if the seller terminates today, the buyer's broker could say, no, it's legit, use the unilateral, or give it to the buyer. Yeah.
I didn't see the person, I saw a hand.
You don't remember seeing it?
No.
Come on, you're setting up.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
Coffee talk by ourselves.
I know.
I was gonna go get my coffee and a muffin. I can come back and talk.
Perfect.
Yep.
Wow. That's unusual because I know you know about people, right?
Yeah.
People on, can you tell if there's anybody else?
No, I don't think anyone would show up across the top.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone that.
I don't see the little thing with, yeah, participants one, let us skip.
I think as we get like past, start getting to Halloween and then Thanksgiving and stuff, we'll just get busy
No, it was.
for that.
For that.
You said.
The year's over, I'm just gonna go and. Then at the beginning of the year, they're like, oh. That's not good.
I
Yeah.
think you might be right. You might have to make copies of it. Ends around September.
Did not have anyone last week?
No, that's when we were getting with Tyler.
Mhm. Last time, remember that was,
Yeah.
Wow.
lower participation, because normally we.
Or do it as a. We do. We do. Oh, you do like this.
Yeah, maybe just once a month. We do it. But no, there's three.
Yeah, and not the first one.
I know.
Hey, Rude. Morning, Rude.
We can't hear you.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
You're still on mute, Rude. We can't hear you.
I'm stay far. Hold the paper down.
Will that take you off mute? I didn't even know that.
Okay,
There.
so let me tell you, there's a problem here. Because on the weekly newsletter that went out, there was no link there for them people to join on the computer.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I'm coming on the phone and I don't know how to work this thing on my phone. That's why I look so beautiful in my bathrobe. Anyway, I thought maybe you could say something to Jessica. She could get out a link on email.
Yeah.
Or something on text.
So there is no link at all?
No. There's not a link on the newsletter that went out, you know, that weekly happenings. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I just pulled mine up and I don't see a link in there either.
There isn't. That's why I'm telling you. There's no link there. I tried the one above that and that goes to Tyler. And I don't know, the one below that one goes to this planning thing at 1:30 or 11:30, I guess it is.
Yeah,
Negotiation.
it looks like the link was omitted, because it says join Zoom, but I think it was supposed to be a hyperlink and it's gone.
Right. So do y'all want to tell Jessica or you want me to tell her?
Erin just walked up to tell her.
Okay. Maybe she could send out a quick email because I tried to find an email as well. You may have more people than you care about right now, but I just thought maybe you might want more people.
Yeah, for sure. We love seeing you.
That was pretty terrible. I need to figure out what's going on with this phone to put me out there right exposed like that. Listen, I want to talk to y'all anyway. Who's the attorney with you today? Is it?
It's Ashley.
Okay.
Can you see me?
Oh, Ashley's here. I can't see y'all. You're too small on my phone. Let me see if I can make you bigger. This is only 3 people, is that right?
Yeah, and Michelle's in here with us. But-
Michelle? Oh,
Yeah.
good. Hey, Michelle. I'm glad you're in there. I wanted to talk to you anyway, so I'll talk to you afterwards.
You were gonna talk to me?
So I have the wonderful task today of sending out a demand letter. So maybe I could have some input.
You have to send a what letter?
A demand letter. I need to send a demand letter. I don't know if it'll do any good, but we had a closing, we're supposed to have it on Friday. We represented the seller. The buyer went to the closing, said they changed their mind and walked out.
No. I've had that happen a couple of times recently. I don't know why. that's a thing.
It's happening a lot, I think.
That what happened?
The buyer just changes their mind and wants out.
That happened to my buyer, who was buying, the person buying their house the day before closing, just decided. No, like there was something wrong with the floor, so they didn't like it. I was like.
Well,
Wow.
it
So
was.
is it
at
a
the
demand
closing.
letter or a 10-day letter, you mean?
No, I can't send it. What could I send a 10-day letter for? The I need to send a demand letter for the commission because the buyer walked out. The seller's only remedy is the earnest money, which they'll
Right.
give them the earnest money. But the only thing for us is if we go after the commission. So I asked the buyer's agent, we represent the seller, if they were going to go, and they said no, they weren't going after the commission. But I'm going to send a demand letter. I don't know. I doubt we'll get anything for it. Do you have any suggestions about how I can be mean enough to get that money?
And I think typically quoting the contract and the provisions, and you could just say that in the event that they don't pay that, y'all will file a lawsuit. I think just wording it strongly, and again, quoting the provision of the contract, you know, the default section. It's got what
Right.
the agent's remedies are, the broker's remedies. I think
Right.
that's what I would focus on in the letter, is just the facts.
Right.
And kind
Well,
of laying out, this happened, this happened, this happened, we're due the commission because this happened per this term of the contract. You know, this
Right.
letter is an attempt to collect that.
Right. Okay, that's what I was planning to do. I just thought you might have some hint to make them pay. I mean, you know how these things go. They can totally ignore it, and I doubt we would file a lawsuit because there's not enough money to do it.
That was gonna be my question, what's the price point?
I think it was about 500,000.
So is it like $15,000 commission?
Yeah, something like that.
That might be worth it, I mean, probably won't cost 15,000 to file a lawsuit, but. I mean, obviously up to you guys, but it's smart to start with a letter, because if they give you half of it, it's still better than nothing.
Right. Well, that's what I'm going to do today. I have so much fun today to look forward to.
And I both have super fun days. Today, I was just telling Aaron about my pool closing from Friday, where the lender just stopped participating. Supposed to close on Friday, didn't send us a package, wouldn't answer emails. Like 4 hours went by where not a peep. And they're calling me every, 30 seconds, do you have it, do you have it? No, no. Sellers losing their mind because they wanted to buy another house with that money. I told Aaron one of the emails from the lender when he did.
Was that the loan officer?
From the loan officer, that said, well, I hope the sellers have extra money to be able to buy their new house.
What?
That's what happened in this case. The seller was buying another house, but can't do it now.
Same with ours, it was like a little domino, and it was the first person was like. Cause I didn't know. First they tried to ask for more money. I'm like, it's a deal for closing. Right.
Wow.
Do you think you
Yeah.
can move closer to the mic because it's very hard to hear you? You're echoing in there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was just saying, Ruth, that I had someone do that to my buyer. I had a buyer that was selling her house and buying a new one, and the day before closing, we were doing a back-to-back, but the day before closing, the buyer buying her home decided they didn't want to buy it. Crazy. And it's just frustrating, like nothing happens to them.
Well, they lose their earnest money, but the one I had a couple weeks ago, they were like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what? They didn't tell us why, it was just like, change of heart.
Well, that's why you need to ask, as a listing agent, you need to ask for significant earnest money. Like 1% is not nearly enough, because people normally are willing to lose that much. Unless like on a lower price range, they're not, right? Because they're
Yeah.
usually scrambling for money or like they saved. But on higher price ranges, I find that doesn't matter. If it's 1%, they don't care.
Which is what my
$5,000.
fund went from Friday to 1.7 million with $20,000 earnest money.
Yeah, it's not enough.
And the listing agent was like, I told them we needed to ask for more, and they said they were fine. I'm like, well, you did your job then, I mean. I don't know, but now they're like, who's gonna pay for my $20,000? I'm like, not me.
The $20,000 earnest money that you agreed to.
Yeah, well, they used a unilateral, so I don't know that.
Oh,
But then over the weekend, it came to light that the buyer actually took out $500,000 line of credit, and that's the problem.
so they're not gonna
I'm like,
be usually unilateral.
Yeah, well, the problem is the buyer's broker is the holder of the earnest money. So I'm like, it's gonna come down to whether they deem that the buyer's fault, if that's even legit, because the loan officer's sketchy. So it's the buyer's fault, they can't use it.
No, but if the lender cannot fulfill their loan, cannot do that, they're gonna have to issue a denial letter.
At which point they'll lose the earnest money.
Yeah,
But I don't know that it's getting denied. I think they just needed time. Like, I think they pulled it for like a last minute underwriting, found the line of credit, and they were like, whoa, we need some time to work on this. And so I mean, I know, almost $2 million house, you might have enough room in your like debt to income for that to be okay, they just need extra work, so might be fine. I'm like, this is the best.
wow.
But it's probably better for your sellers, like, even if you have to amend it, because you know it's not legit, to just go ahead and close, because they wanna buy their new house.
Right,
And this is still faster, I know it's annoying, but still faster.
and going through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, and the lender said it was telling them on Friday it was our fault, because we didn't provide them the documentation in time, and I was like, oh, no, let me show you all the things. I was like, the only thing we didn't provide was the seller's payoff, but why do you need that? You don't, like. And we
Yeah,
asked for it,
but
we
what
sent
does it
it,
mean?
no, they didn't know we're gonna pay it. That's it.
What if there is no payoff?
Well, right. I mean, there was, so, I don't know.
Right, but that's, has nothing to do with their
Right.
numbers.
Not a thing in the world. So they were just like grasping for, I don't know what the problem was.
Yeah, I don't even know why you do that. Like, if you know that the line of credit is your issue, like, why bother?
No, I don't get it.
Who is this lender?
Valley?
Who?
Exactly. Like, I've never heard of that.
Clearly, no one uses them twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just crazy though, because. I mean, that stuff happens, I guess, I mean, either. Judging by this loan officer, he probably never gave them any instructions to not open anything. But, you know, sometimes even you do, you know, you tell them, don't open any new credit, don't make any big purchases, and sometimes people still do it. You know, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I told you not to,
And honestly,
you know,
this, I'm hearing this from the listing agent, that it's a line of credit issue, you know, the loan officer is
Is that
not
right?
bothering to respond. And so it could be that they had this line of credit and just didn't draw and then made a draw on it, and they didn't understand that was like
debt.
building up the debt. So I don't know what happened, it's like nobody knows, and it's all like 30 in info,
yeah.
so. Mess. Yep. But hopefully it was. The one.
It's just, it's annoying to hear that people operate that way to where they just stop communicating. Because, I mean, unless it's your first day in the industry, you know, stuff does come up. You know, there are hiccups, there are like, oh crap, they did this, or, you know, they didn't realize, whatever. And it's just like, if you just communicate what's going on, most people are gonna be pretty cool about it in terms of, okay, how do we fix it? What can we do? How long will it take? You know, I mean,
Right, and if they had told us
So much
that,
better.
or they packed up their whole house, it would have been.
yeah, still annoying. They still would have been upset, but it would have been not as bad as, hey, we're sitting at the closing. You know, like, what's up?
Right.
Really, that's the worst thing. You're sitting there at the closing and they say, we changed our mind. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, or there's a problem, you know, someone shows up to the closing and no one's been communicating, so then they're like, oh, we're not closing today? It's like, well, it's not that hard to just explain.
Well,
And
I
it's
think
hard
that-
for us too, because like the not as good loan officers, they can just sort of disappear into the world and not have to deal with the backlash. But the attorney's office, like, they show up and they're yelling.
They're in
at
your
us.
office.
I'm like, I'm trying so hard, but
Yeah.
just kind of.
Good times.
Do you have any soccer this weekend? Every weekend.
Had 2 games.
I heard that Messi actually played in
He did,
Carolina.
I actually played on turf, and he's his contract says he won't play on turf, so he did,
Turf is kind of dangerous though.
Yeah.
And I guess I know as much from like a soccer perspective, but from like American football perspective, I know that there's so many injuries.
yeah, because it doesn't have the,
Like,
Wow.
yeah,
you know, the, doesn't,
I think it's
it's not that
slicker.
shock proof,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's like
Also-
ankles getting twisted and stuff.
ACLs being torn
Mhm.
all the time, yeah,
So who's this? Your son? Who's playing?
but my son,
Oh, well, we're talking about Messi, who's like the #1 player in the world, right?
yeah.
Professional soccer.
Yeah.
Or
Then I thought you were talking about your son playing soccer.
my son
Okay.
does play.
Okay.
So it kind of, this weekend, we were supposed to be in Austin for the US Grand Prix, the Formula One race.
Oh.
And we canceled our trip because he had these two games, so it was like their archive, how do you say that?
Arch
Arch. Like their biggest one.
Yeah.
And, so it was interesting, but they were losing, we were losing at halftime 0-2. And then they came back and we ended up tying 2-2, which Alex came up with.
He doesn't like to tag.
But I tie against them.
That always been my question.
Get the, make someone win. Well, isn't
You
there like
only-
overtime?
You can only go to overtime or penalty kicks, like if it's a decision-making game. So like a final or a semifinal.
But my question is why? Why not have there be a winner every game?
I don't know, because I think it's not as American football where, I don't know exactly how the format of championships work, but we have like a group stage, right? So usually in a group stage, let's say for a World Cup, there are 16 groups of 4 teams, and then the top 2 then go to the quarterfinals. And then the top 1 goes to the semifinals. And then, so I think it's just a format that's differently because it's based on points. So,
So it's based on like total points versus game wins and losses. Is that what you're saying? Kind of like,
right,
2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, nothing for a loss.
right. And then, except when it's a semifinal or a final, then it's whoever wins or loses, but that's where you have to have a win.
yeah.
So that's when it's, or if you're in a playoff situation and you have a tie, you have, like, when there is only one that advances.
Yeah, you have
the
to
next
figure out
one,
who the one
You
is.
have to figure that out.
And so how do they do that? So say they get to the end of the
The regular
clock,
time.
yeah, the regular time and it's tied.
So it depends on the tournament, but usually, like on a World Cup or professional, they go to overtime, which is another 2 halves of like 15 minutes.
Okay.
So the regular time is 2 45-minute halves.
Yeah.
With a 15-minute halftime, that's
Okay.
the regular. Overtime is 2 15-minute halves with a 5-minute halftime.
Oh,
And then if they're still tied, if they're still tied in that situation, then they go to penalty kicks. And it's 5 penalty kicks per team, alternate, until there's
someone gets more.
or if they're like 4-4, right, and they're in the 5th, then whoever scores next, if the next one does not score, then that's it, or vice versa. Now, sometimes there's what's called the golden goal. So you play your regular time, and then you start playing again another 2 15-minute halves, but whoever scored first, that's the winner. You don't have
You don't have to play
you
out
don't
the
have to
whole
play the
40
whole
minutes.
So it just depends. Yeah. So, yeah, this weekend it was tough, but I actually just right now, just got a text from one of the parents on the team. It's also on the look and see. Hi, Michelle and Luis, I just wanted to tell you how much we are enjoying playing with Alex. And how important he is to the team. He's making great plays and keeping us out of trouble. He's also bringing a level of energy and fire that we need. I'm so happy for him. He's been amazing.
Oh, so sweet. I love that. How old, Alex?
Well. Yeah. So, that's pretty cool. His coach texted me yesterday too, which I thought was very nice. He said, I just wanted to. Thanks for the sacrifice you made this weekend as a family and changing your plans. Alex was super important for the team, especially today. Thanks from the bottom of my heart. That coming from Kim, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, when we told him we have these tickets for this weekend, he's like, great, Luis will have a great time with us.
You gotta love a coach who knows what they want.
Yeah, he told me, he can stay with me, I'll take care of him
Oh.
on the weekend.
That's when you know he's
That's
really
right.
important to the team. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's fine, we can just leave at my house, I'll get into the game.
So we're like, no, we're not gonna go without him, like, we go because of him.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So it turned out good, wish they had won, would have been better.
At least they didn't lose.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been really bad.
That would have been worse.
Because even I guess the league that they play for, it's called ECNL. They posted like Derby weekend, Concord versus NASA. Like they know that it's like mega rivals. So they even posted it, and then Alex showed me this morning, he's like, look, NASA posted me on there, which is the other team. NASA posted me on their website.
What did they say about
Yeah, I think they just said something like, I don't know, it's all over Instagram, I don't know how you find stuff.
That's crazy. Young people these
And
days.
you just tell me, look. I think they said something like, that they tied but the picture, it's interesting because the picture is 3 boys from our team, just one from the other, and he's losing the ball.
Right.
Who's
your marketing?
Yeah. They're secretly fans of your team.
That's like. So that's the picture. So that's Alex, the 2 of his other teammates, and these guys are chasing the ball. Like, why would you?
Why would you pick that?
Like, who's one way you're scoring? Why
Yeah.
would you do something like that?
It's like if you try to
Right,
like
like, you
stuff
know,
down great and then you know, like you had other options.
And so Alex just reposted it and tagged his teammates, say, look, they're not supposed to us. Even though he's football like haircut. Oh my God.
Wow.
Like all shade down here.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it actually, it looks good.
Yeah.
After it was done, I'm like. Luis and I.
When what was he telling you what he wanted and you were like,
Oh, no, he just went with the haircut.
Oh.
That's what I want. No, it's been coming to, because the past 2 haircuts, he's asked her to cut this a little shorter. So it was leading gradually, but this is like, he was like, I can see my skin. I'm like, yeah, you have a birthmark there. I didn't know about it. Now I can see your skull.
Happened when I shaved Rosie.
Yeah.
I got it first shaved, I'm like, oh, you have this huge birthmark all over it. So interesting.
Yeah.
Because since she's got white fur, her little skin is pink. When you
Yeah.
shave her, it's like you can see her little pink skin. And at first I was like,
I did what?
a bruise.
Oh.
Just a birthmark. Takes up like her whole back, where she goes this big. What kind of dog? She's a Maltese. She's tiny. Said no. Oh, gee.
So, anyway, that was my weekend. This weekend we're free. I
Wow.
don't believe it. I think this is the second one we've had the last 2 months, and the last one, I was like, wow, like, I got so much done.
Yeah.
This is how regular people think, it's amazing. But, last night I went to see this guy. You know, somebody. If you don't, you need to. You know what I'm saying? Maluma, you never heard his songs? He has a couple of songs. He,
He's nice, very attractive.
Yeah. You're right, I should know him.
I'm telling you, he's, there's so much energy. He's.
That is the correct word. It takes a special person to be able to rock a man bun, and he's in that small
Yes,
group of
definitely.
Here. Well, literally at the stage, like the stage. Okay.
Oh, wow. You're close.
Yeah, he,
Oh, wow, holy cow, he works out.
yeah.
Hey, y'all, I gotta move on now, so good to see you today. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
My friend that I
I
want.
was like, he does not look happy. I was like, that's security. He's not address. Yeah. He doesn't think he's as yummy.
For sure. That my friend, she is smiling on my ear the entire time. So.
I like his hair up better, me too, surprisingly. Yeah, I was just having that same thought.
Keep it like a prop. Kind of looking section, and so he let his hair down.
Oh, yeah.
For that, put like a New York, like a Yankee hat backboard.
Oh, okay.
The good thing is, so we were up right by the stage, and then he had another stage towards the back of the arena. So the rock part was in the backside of the arena.
Great.
So knock it out there, come back and dance, nice here. So. He's so good. The music is really good.
What's the say his name?
Maluma.
Maluma.
He's good. A little. Alex wanted to go. I'm like, no, and I could have taken him, he was pretty mild, but normally he's not there, he's kind of like 5'1"-ish. Although I'm listening to my honey all the time, so I probably could have taken him. I felt bad when I was there, I'm like, I should have, because he was, I bought the tickets Saturday night, like the day before.
Oh,
And that I found those tickets right on the ticket,
yeah.
and they were pretty cheap, but there were only two, so I bought two, and I asked my friend if she wanted to go. And then when I was there.
Oh, that's okay, now you have an excuse next time he comes
Yeah.
around to say.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
don't need an
sorry.
excuse,
Well,
we'll go.
it's-
But, this morning he was like, Oh, cause I video called him from there, and you know, I could, you know, and he just texted him, wow, and then his money, he's like, you didn't tell me you were going to see Maluma. I'm like, well, no, of course I didn't tell you, you would have been like, yeah, we're gonna go with it. See, this is kind of things that. So he just learned things that we did that.
Oh.
They gave him things last night at the concert.
Because
It's gonna go low.
wow.
Again, there you go. Now you can look him up.
Yeah. Have a couple new followers on Instagram.
Oh, no.
So cute.
So, yeah. Well, I guess let's go work.
Yes, so.
Great talk.
Yeah.
Well, we did talk about something.
We did.
Really.
We did. Maybe a couple sentences.
Exactly.
Do you think that we should, girl? Yeah, you would like, often?